Captain's Dangus log. My asp seems to purr at me like a cat. I should probably get that checked out. I was preparing for a long journey into deep, deep, deep space. Deep space cubed. On a call from the Federation and the mysterious children of Raxala, they had beckoned commanders to provide scans from beyond the Heart and Soul Nebulas in an area called by some the Formaldine Rift. Now this was no loosey-goosey there-back affair, no weekend honeymoon in the Bahama cluster either. Long ago I had made the trip to the center of the galaxy and back, and the memory actually makes me kind of shudder really. With 2 weeks in a barely upgraded asp alone, this was only half the distance, but that would still be a solid week of playing. Oh my, the gravity's kind of strong here. Oops, no, don't go down, Okay, let me just correct this. I'll just bring it in with a side roll scoop. Yeah, that's right, the scruple maneuver. We'll just scruple in. We're scrupling. Nope, we're not scrupling. The gravity is too strong. No. Okay, whatever, close enough. To shave off precious mass, I headed out to Elvira Martuk and asked her to put my shields on a diet, but keep them primed for action. Because when you ask about the Formaldine Rift, you get odd glares from people. Rumors of Thargoids are often tied to the Rift, and with the children of Raxala involved, the only way to get answers was going to be to get out there myself. I would need to steel my mind, to focus solely on the mission at hand, with no distractions whatsoever. I would need complete and dedicated... Why has that guy got his high beams on? Commander Dirty J, you're high beaming! You jerk! Ugh. Well, at least in Deep Space Cubed, I won't have to worry about bad drivers. In fact, if I do run into a Thargoid, I'd really prefer if it was like the worst pilot. That'd be awesome. Thargoid noobs. But one final stop here at Brandon City, the edge of the bubble. The last place I would be docking for a long time. I tried to soak in the beauty of the station setting. And of course, that caused me to mess up another landing. Another thing I probably won't miss in Deep Space Cubed. So I packed all kind of snacks into my locker. Stacks of magazines, some of the sciences, some of ill repute. I'll get bored. And with all my parts and upgrades intact, and some new swagger in my step, it was finally time to leave humanity behind, and set out on the greatest journey ever that I had recently embarked on. I'd start my route like an old Earth sea captain would, pointing my ship at the so-called North Star Polaris. Polaris is actually permit locked, because, you know, Thargoids. But it gave me all the more reason to start my exploration among the stars there. So I set my course and took off on my maiden voyage. From soul to heart, and soul to soul. Hey, that's got a good ring to it. Oh, that's nice. Oh, hey, watch it, amigo! Jeez! Yeah, okay. Time to get out to Deep Space Cubed. Space. It's bigger than it looks, they say. I don't say that. People say that about space. Space. Exploration has a rhythm to it. Drop, scoop, scan, and jump. A balance of heat and speed, timing and prioritizing. Once you get in the flow of things, you feel like you're in a current. Like a little electron hopping from atom to atom. You flit through space like cosmic electricity. I am the cosmic lightning. I am the space thunder. And so on and so forth. So the delusions of space madness tend to go. But this isn't my first rodeo. And there's a few tricks to keeping your noggin from busting out your skull. Maybe if you indulge me, I'll share a few. So first of all, blue stars are really pretty to look at, and you should go to them all the time. If you ever hit a blue star, take a moment to bask. It's very soothing. And secondly, let fate steer your craft and your destiny. Pop open your external camera and check yourself out. And when you're making those long hauls, don't just make a straight line. You gotta check out the sights along the way, like the pretty NGC 7822 Nebula here. It gets prettier when you're closer, trust me on that one. Yeah. The red stars are good for basking too. You should always take some time to check out the system map while you fuel scoop. You might find some interesting looking orbital bodies to ogle. It also breaks the routine of jumping over and over by discovering readings of life inside a kooky looking gas giant. Imagine the possibilities! And also, there's a sweet spot between scooping and heat where you can just thrust down and bask while you scoop. Give the old arms a break. Now, sunlight contains vitamin D, which is good, but it also is radioactive, so you should always wear sunscreen while you explore. And it's okay to wear your sunglasses at night in space, because the sun is still there, all the time. so Corey Hart was pretty ahead of his time. But in some systems just beyond the star, there are wonders to be seen, if you take the time to look. And sometimes what you find can help stave off that daunting space madness. You may seem small, ugly, and insignificant while gazing across a shiny metal world, or watching a swirling nebula get larger with each jump. But just remember, you're only one of many small, ugly, insignificant people. And together, the sum of the parts is at least significant. Like how this nebula truly shines when up close, each individual star contributing to its beauty. You really have to look close at humanity before you can see its true beauty, but it's totally there. Which reminds me, I should grab one of those magazines. Ooh, a blue star! Anyway, enough about humanity. Nebulas are a great place to see some funky stars against lush backdrops, and perhaps, if you're lucky, some black holes. These magnificent wonders truly show off their event horizon on such a rich tapestry of nebulastic floofiness. Yes, nebulas are the explorer's oasis, the truck stop diners on a long, lonely galactic road where you can recharge your batteries, order some flapjacks, and murder a prostitute or something. Whoa, that got dark. Okay, I think I need to cut down on the 20th century movies. Yes, one of my pastimes while exploring is watching old Earth cultural fantasy media on Galflix. It's quite entertaining. But you can't spend all your time watching Star Trek, especially when you're basically out there doing Star Trek, only with less cosmic energy forces trying to take over the ship, and less tribbles, and less Shakespeare, and less sexy green alien babes. Hopefully no drunken Scottish guy in the engine room. I hope. I should actually check and see what's going on down there. Well, one day I'll give you my space legs. But still, it's basically the same thing. Go around space, check stuff out, go somewhere else. And in this process, I stumbled upon a viciously gouged planet of unusual size out there, spinning rapidly and larger than I'd ever encountered. Spying a massive impact crater, I headed down to check it out. A moon must have smacked into this planet at some point to make a crater this large. The surface even had a kind of moony texture. But the gravity here was so strong that I was losing altitude fast if I wasn't boosting directly up. Afraid to lose my ship to this giant planet if I dropped down too far, I decided to play it safe. I remember my old flight instructor used to say, abstinence is the only contraceptive with a 100% success rate. So if you're going to crash land your vessel into a crazy exoplanet for science, you better make sure you've put on some hull protection before you do. If that crazy planet lies about being on the pill, you might find the gravity of the situation gets you stuck out there. But wait, why am I talking about safe exploration? This is Dangus. I should be telling noobs that fuel scoops are optional, and that every explorer uses beat-grade modules, and the center of the galaxy is actually a portal to another identical universe, and it just resets you to New Game Plus mode. But that would be wrong. I shouldn't do that.
Do it!
Should I do it?
Just do it!
Thank you, Planet LaBouffe.
You're not gonna stop there.
What?
Nothing is impossible.
Oh wait, that's not a talking planet, that's the real Shia LaBeouf. You see, after he gained immortality in 2021 and began increasing in size, Shia LaBeouf was cast off the Earth, sent into space where he could live forever among the stars. I guess he landed there. But it looks like my dedication was paying off. I'd managed to fend off space madness long enough to get a view of the Heart and Soul Nebulas off in the distance. While getting there would take several more hours, seeing your destination getting closer and closer definitely eases the brain and lets you appreciate the journey. It gives you a renewed sense of purpose, at least until you start thinking of the trip back home. So it's best to keep your eyes on the prize. I'd like to think I'm temporarily going to squat, rent-free in the Heart and Soul Nebula, with a great view of the galaxy and light years of square footage, lacking in amenities for sure, and the commute would be unbearable. But with the help of some lovely neutron stars, I was able to recreate the intro to Doctor Who, giving me a lovely boost to my FSD ratings. Speaking of which, why don't neutron stars ever get my jokes? I guess they're too dense? A man walks into a neutron star. What a degenerate. A neutron star walks into a Mexican restaurant and orders a quesadilla. So the waiter, who's aware of the poly-exclusion principle, says, "I'm sorry, sir, we just don't have the room." A neutron star is helped out of an ambulance and brought into emergency surgery. The doctor measures its angular momentum and declares, "This man has pulsars." Okay, that last one was bad. But soon enough, I found myself at the heel of the Soul Nebula. I had made it here in one piece. And now it was time to switch into investigation mode and start a thorough search of this area. And I also had a choice to make when I was done here. Would I bring my dead into the Federation, who I'd once pledged my loyalty to so long ago? Or the Children of Raxla, a group with mysterious intentions? I guess I would have plenty of time to figure that out, and plenty of time to go through these magazines of ill repute, which I'm sure you've guessed is my fond way of referring to star charts. Because for explorers, the stars are the porn. There's some really messed up kinky shit out there. Like, I'm talking tentacle porn levels of crazy stellar visuals. Like, guy getting jacked off by a bearded dwarf woman wielding hammers for hands kind of shit. Okay, maybe not that crazy, but pretty close. But this will be continued in Part 2 of Soul to Heart and Soul to Soul, the Formaldine Rift investigation. Spatula out. To Dangus.